Okay, so this is a high-intensity cycling sprint. Do a couple of these, maybe 15, 20 seconds in duration, and we have a high-intensity training session. That's a total training time of just 40 seconds of exercise. Sounds easy, right? Well, actually our research is starting to show that that might be enough. You can actually achieve similar health benefits with this type of exercise as if you were to do 1 hour of moderate intensity exercise. So when we first released our finding on this last year, some of the comments we got back from the general population were fairly skeptical, and understandably so. It really does sound like something you get filling up women's health magazines. But actually it's based on sound science, some of which I'm going to try and talk to you about today. But first of all, I just want to kind of take you back to the start. What is the problem? Well, the problem is inactivity. So this is the past. In the past, exercise was absolutely mandatory for us for our survival, and this is now the present. We've manufactured activity out of our lives, and while in many ways we consider that a good thing, this tends to be the result. Chronic disease, diseases like type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all diseases that inactivity play a very key role, if not the major role, in the development of them. So to give you some figures, 1 in 3 people will now die prematurely because of something related to cardiovascular disease. Okay, absolutely preventable if we can overcome this problem of inactivity. So what is our current approach? Well, we have recommendations for exercise. So we recommend that you do 30 minutes of structured, moderate intensity exercise, and we recommend that you do that on most days of the week. Okay, and our approach really hasn't changed over the last 20 to 25 years. Is it working? Well, not really. So here are the figures we have from 2010. So in the green, we've got people who meet the recommendations, maybe about 1/3 of us, so not too bad. 2/3 of us don't meet the recommendations. Okay. Okay, and well, if you ask people, well, why don't you meet the recommendations? People have done surveys on this. One of the main reasons that they'll give is, well, we just don't have the time to exercise. We can't find the time. That's not to say that there are not other barriers that are important, but we should be able to do something about this. So, well, what approach can we take? Well, if we're going to try and reduce the time, what you have to do is think, well, we actually have to increase the intensity. With our high intensity training, we're increasing the intensity so much that the exercise time becomes negligible. The sprints that you do are very, very high intensity. You can only do them for a short period of time, so you have to break them up with a bit of a warm-up, a bit of a cool-down in between. Still, that only adds up to about a 10 seconds training protocol in total. So now this is where I'm going to make you feel really guilty. This is your time commitment of a usual week. So we've got days of the week up the side and time along the top. 8 hours of sleep, maybe a little bit generous. 9 hours at work. And then this is the time commitment of HIIT. 3 10-minute sessions in an average week. That adds up to 30 minutes of exercise, and that's all you need to maintain good metabolic health. That's about the same amount of time as you would spend brushing your teeth, and we don't even think twice about doing that. Okay, well, so does it work? Well, we've done studies now. The basic design is that we do a health test and a fitness test. Then we put people through a 6-week HIIT exercise intervention. They train 3 times a week, and then we measure their health and fitness again. If we look at the health benefits, so what we're measuring here is how people respond to a sugary drink. So how well can they regulate their blood sugar levels? And we find that with this type of training, just 6 weeks, we see a 28% increase in how well they can respond to that sugary drink. If we look at fitness, so we're talking about VO2 max here. Basically, we get people on a bike, we increase the intensity over a period of time, and we ask them to cycle for as long as they possibly can. Again, we see a 14% increase with just 6 weeks of training. Okay? They're doing an actual exercise time of 2 minutes every week. It sounds like quite a small increase, but if you're a pharmaceutical company, you develop a drug that can increase your insulin sensitivity by 28% with 0 side effects in 6 weeks. I tell you what, your stocks are soaring, you're laughing all the way to the bank. Yeah, it's a massive increase in that period of time. So what you're going to say now is, well, you've increased the intensity, that must make it really, really tiring. Well, we ask people at the end of the sessions how hard they find it, and they tell us, well, maybe somewhat hard. And that's actually a similar kind of score as you would get if people were doing moderate intensity type exercise. And another added bonus is, well, you don't actually sweat that much either. So what we're looking at now is, well, maybe we can integrate this time of exercise into the workplace as well. I'm going to leave you with this sentiment here. Some of the colleagues in the Department of Health probably won't slightly agree with it, but it seems to sum up the talk quite well. Thank you very much.